A little bit of a very well-known song and tune. The theme, of course, from Neighbours. Well, if you've been listening since the beginning of the programme, you will know why I'm playing that particular song today. The reason is that with me in studio is a lady called Joy Chambers. Now, Joy Chambers has been a catwalk model, a TV presenter, a whole lot of other things. But she is also director of Grundy Worldwide, one of the most successful TV companies in the world. She has been a star in Neighbours and in Young Doctors. And she's married, just by the by, to Mr. Television, Reg Grundy. Now she is an author, and I have been spending the last couple of nights reading Mayfield, her first novel. It's a romantic historical novel set in 19th century Australia, and I am delighted to welcome Joy Chambers to studio today. Good afternoon.
Lynda, thank you for that lovely introduction, and thank you for actually reading the book. I very much appreciate it.
Well, I love the book. I mean, I just can't say nothing, but I love the book.
Thank you.
And the sooner that it comes to screen, the better. And I just know, because I happen to have a bit of insider information, the particular character you want to do. Lottie, it has to be. Has to be.
Did you realise that when you were reading it?
I just thought about that, and then, of course, I realised afterwards it has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, she's a very small role, as you obviously have read it and understand. But she's a strong character, and I just thought that, you know, if ever it does actually get to either the small screen or the large screen, I thought Lottie might be a good character for me.
Well, if it doesn't get to the screen, Joy, I mean, if you can't get at the screen, who can?
Well, you know, yes, I do know. I know a couple of people in television. Mind you, I knew nobody in publishing. It was a hard slog. But anyway, I do happen to know one or two folk. You're quite right.
Be able to do something for you.
Yes, I think we could. In fact, there's a cable network in America at the moment who are very interested in it. So maybe.
Well, I look forward to it.
Thank you.
But I hope that everyone, of course, would read the book in the first place.
Well,
because
yes, that would help.
It's super, absolutely super.
Well, in actual fact, when I first got the idea, Lynda, it was about 7 years ago, really. It was just a favourite thing of mine were the bushrangers, and I had I used to collect books because my book Mayfield is set in the bushranging era in Australia, and I used to collect books on the bushrangers. That people who are listening to you today have probably heard of Ned Kelly.
Yeah.
You know, everyone knows Ned Kelly. He was the last one, of course. My book is set 10 years before that, as you're aware, and it's at the height of the bushranging era when for a while they had public sympathy. And so I used to collect books on them, and then finally I was sort of putting down thoughts, and one day I thought, you know, I reckon I've got a story here.
They're a bit like the equivalent, could we say, of the highwaymen, the English highwaymen.
You're, of course, quite right.
Well,
they were the Australian equivalent of the highwayman, and they robbed people going to and from the goldfields and so forth. And for a while they had that sort of, you know, like the romantic highwayman myth. People thought of them like that too, until unfortunately they killed too many policemen and the tide turned against them.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. The people who are in your book, the bushrangers, Alan and his gang.
My lovely Alan. Alan
Who's going to play Alan?
Oh, I don't know if Mel Gibson will be available.
Oh, he's a lovely character. Such a weird and wonderful life, and so wronged all his life.
Yes, of course.
But what was I going to say? Yes, Alan and his character, is he based on? You must have done research, obviously, to find out about the bushrangers.
Yes.
Are any of the bushrangers actually based on people that did exist?
Well, I think a number of men that I do talk about in the book and who do play small roles, like the Ben Hall character and the Dan Morgan character, they were real, quite real. Alan, of course, was real to me.
And me.
And he's a multiplicity of people, I suppose. There's a bit of my father in him. There's a bit of Reg Grundy in him, actually. But then, of course, when you're writing a book, you know, if you've got a person who's your hero, and Alan is my hero, I just saw him as the epitome of good, and he was. And there's evil in the book too, so there's a balance. And I just saw him as perfect, and I wanted him to be perfect.
And he was.
Even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
With that gorgeous man next to you that I met upstairs.
I was wide awake by then. The other, I suppose not. Well, he is a hero in many ways too. John Stewart.
Yes, he is.
It was a bit unfortunate that he had lived the life he had and what
Yes.
happened between his mother and father.
Yes.
Do you think, I mean, you had all the ingredients in there, Joy, for a wonderful story, a saga that because of, the sins of the fathers being visited on the
Yes,
children,
very much so.
it goes on and on.
Yes.
But you totally stunned me about 2 chapters from the end when it kept going on and on. How is this going to end? I mean, that was a clever, it was a lovely way to end up. But
Thank
it was
you.
clever too, because I thought you could have ended, chapters before, couldn't you?
Yes, you could. The thing that I think too, Lynda, and perhaps this is the romantic sentimentalist in me, but I do like happy endings. And I think people, all of us, all your listeners, I'm sure, want happy. We like happy endings. Who wants to see something startling unlucky happen and sadness, and so you finish thinking, oh my gracious, and you feel very down. It's a little bit like Neighbours. I like people to feel up,
Right, exactly. And as I say, you could have stopped it several chapters before you did by leaving it there and something for another day.
You certainly have read it.
Oh, wow.
And you obviously take note of what you read. You're a very, I would think, clever lady.
I wondered if, you still have left it. There is a sequel sitting there waiting to be written. I can see that just leaping out. Will that happen, Joy?
Well, with sequels, it's a strange thing. One just wonders if enough people read Mayfield and like it. I guess there could be public demand for sequels. Personally, I think I've left it where I wanted to leave it. In fact, I don't know how you felt when Scarlet came out after Gone with the Wind. Not that I'm comparing Mayfield with Gone with the Wind. Don't misunderstand me. But did you feel a little disappointed?
Yes.
I did, because I thought Margaret Mitchell really had told her story, and she really, I don't think she would have approved of Scarlet. Mind you, it's been an economic success, and who can say it was wrong? But I don't think that the author would have
Liked it?
No, I don't.
Why did you kill off Dadie? Because I would love to have seen her hanging around to get her comeuppance, as we say.
Well, I thought for a while about her. See, this lady, everyone who's listening, Lynda really has read this book. Dadie is a most unfortunate little girl type character.
Little girl?
Yes, grown-up woman with a little bit of evil in her.
You're right.
A lot of evil in her. And in actual fact, she had to go. Because if she had stayed, the book would have been a very different book, because she would have John Stewart would have stayed in Australia, he wouldn't have gone to her. And so you see, Dadie had to go.
Yeah, right.
Is the short answer.
I'm sorry she did, because I would quite like to have seen her getting her
deserved more, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah,
she deserved an even worse death.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend who read it and who said she should have just been blinded and had her legs broken or something. And
I agree.
Yes, truly, that is exactly what they said. Why didn't you make us suffer in a wheelchair for years and years?
I know what you mean. Joy, stay with me. We'll come back in a
I will.
moment. And we're talking about Mayfield, her first novel, and one which I hope to see hitting the screen very, very soon.
Thank you, Lynda, I do too.
Joy, have you any thoughts of writing, if you're not going to do a sequel to Mayfield, as I feel you're not, have you any other writing projects in mind?
Well, Lynda, I am well into my second book.
Boring. Yes?
I'm actually working on it now, and it's set in South Africa. It's a similar period. See, I like the historical research. What I found out, Lynda, when I started to do the research on Mayfield, is that I actually liked it. I really liked the sort of going to the places. I mean, everywhere that I talk about, every single place I mention in Mayfield, from Southampton docks right through the book to the end in Boston, I have been. I have walked around there, because even though it's 100 years later, you still get, there's an atmosphere. The rivers are still there. The hills are still there. So the thing to me is that I enjoy all that. I also enjoy going to the archives and looking up the maps of the time. I enjoy reading about it. So the next book is set in South Africa leading up to the Zulu War of 1879.
Fiction again?
Fiction again, historical again.
Right.
And again, I have a pretty terrific lady and a couple of great guys.
I love it. I love it already, and it's not even here. Treehard in Mayfield.
Yes.
Does Mayfield exist, or is it modelled on anything?
Do you know, I have been doing a tour now, for the promotional tour, for 2 weeks, and no one has asked me that question. That's
well, I'd love to go to it if it does exist.
That's a very good question. I'm very impressed, because there is an area in Australia where it is supposed to be, but it's not there anymore because there's a huge dam that covers most of the area where Mayfield House was.
My goodness.
But of course it was very large, and that's just to the east of Cowra, the small town of Cowra
Yes,
in New
right.
South Wales.
Right,
But that's it. I'm impressed by that question. Thank you.
Good. Well, maybe someday I'll go and have a look at the dam.
But of course the hills and valleys are still there, and the area's there.
And Treehide, I mean, that amazing place where they
Wonderful.
couldn't get into. And
The bush
nobody could
rangers
find.
hideout.
Yeah. Was that just an imaginative?
Yeah, that was out of Joy's head.
Very good too. It was, I must say. Let me go back a little now because this is the first book, and I mean, up until now, you've done so many other things, and I believe that as a child you were one of these all singing, all dancing Shirley Temple types. Is this true?
Oh dear, Lynda, I mean, I cringe. I don't know what you were like when you were a little girl,
I was
but
like that.
I was just going to say, I suspect, because listeners, sitting opposite this lady, I mean, she is so bubbly and so bright and so gorgeous. I mean, I can see her very much like me at age 4 or 5, getting onto the bus with a captive audience and really giving it to them,
Yep.
And that's exactly what I used to do. Stand up behind the bus driver and immediately start to sing. I remember at 4 I lost my 2 front teeth. I fell down the steps. I was fine, but my 2 front teeth went. And I used to sing All I Want for Christmas is My 2 Front Teeth.
we've been
And,
there.
I mean, you and I could have done a double act, right?
Exactly. There's no showbiz in the family. I mean, in your own family.
No.
Very serious sort of family.
You're right. Very cerebral lot.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What did they think of this all singing, all dancing blonde bombshell?
Well, I tell you, right from the beginning, I mean, I was very lucky. I had parents who were, I must say, by gee, they were understanding people, my mum and dad. And I had a lovely childhood. I have no complaints about my childhood. I mean, I keep reading about all these people, these Durham bars and people who've been beaten as children and this, that, and no, nobody beat me. I was not, smashed around the head. I had a perfect childhood, and I must say I have to thank my parents for that. But they didn't mind what I wanted to do. I mean, they just accepted that that's the way I wanted to go. I think perhaps Dad would have liked to have seen me follow in the footsteps of my brother and sister and gone to university, sure. But when I decided not to, not only did they accept it, but, they accommodated me, they helped me, they supported me.
Your father, in fact, wasn't it not he who took you to your first
Yes.
edition and got you lost on the way?
He did indeed. But
Do you think he was trying to tell you something, Joy?
Yes, quite true. Well, my very first audition is actually where I met my husband, of course.
Exactly.
350 girls. It was all over when I got there. Yes, we were late. It was up a mountain in Queensland, Australia, and Daddy and I got lost. And when we got there, it was all over. And we walked into the front foyer and people were milling around and girls were still there. In fact, I'd worked with one of the girls on that day in the modelling game. And she said, "It's all over, you're too late."
Oh, yeah, with great glee, I'm sure.
Exactly. And then out appeared a lovely man. I can remember thinking, oh, what a lovely mature gentleman he looked, in a Prince of Wales sort of, the check jacket, yes. And he said, "Thank you all for coming. I've seen you all. I've now got my finalists. Good night." And I put up my hand and said, "But you haven't seen me."
Cheeky article.
Yes. So he took me in with the finalists, and Lynda, I actually ended up getting the job and getting the man.
My God, what a story. When are you going to
it's
write
true.
your own story?
It's true. My story's too happy.
Ah, come on. Isn't that a lovely thing to be able to say? Joy, stay with me if you can.
I
Can
will.
you stay for a little while
I'd
longer?
love to stay with you a little
You're
longer.
not getting out until we're finished.
Thank you, Lynda.
Look, we've had some fun in the studio since we were last talking to you. We've just introduced Joy to our Australian, whom we
Yes.
adopted some years ago, Candy Divide.
Indeed, I remember Candy.
Oh my
It was
goodness,
nice to
she's
see her.
Still going strong here, I can tell you. I want to go back to that audition all those years ago when you decided you haven't seen me and
Yes.
you got the part, because that part was for the game I've Got a Secret.
It was. It was a panel show, and I was like the young blonde on the panel. There were 4 of us, and it was a very good blend actually too. There was an older lady and a sort of a DJ type, and another man and myself. And people used to come on, like perhaps you would walk on, sit down, and you'd have a secret. I mean, someone might have, for example, I don't know, climbed Mount Everest with Hillary. That's getting back a bit. That's you would have climbed when you were a tiny baby if you'd been with him. But for example, that could have been it, right? And so by dint of questioning, you found, rode across the Atlantic single-handed, something like that. And sometimes, of course, I mean, we'd had no idea what the secret was, so we would be asking questions that were very risque, but the people at home knew, and so it worked very well. It was very funny, and it ran a long time.
We've seen it. I mean, it has.
Oh yes, you had similar show TV. Here. You had What's My Line?
Yeah, but we've also had I've Got a Secret very recently.
Hey?
Maybe Reg didn't know. We did, honestly. I'm trying to remember. It was a comedian who did it.
Oh.
On British television. I just can't remember. I just can't remember who it was.
Yeah, that would be
but
the Goodson Tubman show. It was a Goodson Tubman show. I've Got a Secret, yes.
Yeah, well, we did see it, so we know what it's about.
Oh, good, okay.
So did you still model during the time?
Yes, well, what I did was, no, actually, I gave up the modelling very quickly. I was modelling really probably immediately after I left school for about 3 to 6 months before I went into television. So the modelling I quickly gave away because the television was then my career. And I did a lot of things on television, from presenting to hosting to Tonight-style talk sort of shows, through all the game shows, the panel shows. And then I got together with an acting coach and I did a lot of work on acting and made the move over to the acting. And the first role I ever did in acting was... I was a madam. I ran an escort agency.
Lovely.
On a soap called The Restless Years.
Don't think we ever got that.
No.
Don't think we ever got that.
You should have got that one.
Bit risque for
us. I
us.
looked good with it. I had a dark wig in that so that my public wouldn't recognise me.
But when you say you met your husband at that first
edition... Yes, I did.
When did you actually get together? I mean, was it immediate?
He waited till I grew up before he married me, of course.
Because you're a bit young, yeah. I was wondering.
And I think my parents were pleased about that as well. Yes, well, I think when I first saw him, I thought how lovely and attractive he was. But of course, Reg is more than 20 years older than me, so he was very mature to an 18-year-old, obviously. And I really probably thought that he wasn't available when I first saw him. But he was available. And he had a rule too, Lynda, that he never took out ladies on his programs. He never took out actresses. I mean, just never. But I'm pleased to say he made an exception in my case. Thank you, Reg, if you're listening.
Well, he will someday, I hope.
Oh, yes, I'm sure he shall.
My goodness, it's amazing. So it took you were already establishing your own career.
Yes, I was.
In the world of television.
Yes.
So, because, I mean, some people, if they didn't know the story, would assume, young actress, older man, big exec,
that's right.
blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
It wasn't like that.
No, it was not like that. And I was fortunate enough to have an established career long before I married Reg, and also to have won some awards in Australia. And so people related to me, Lynda, as Joy Chambers, and they still do.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to say.
Well, obviously you're still on screen.
Yeah.
Are you still... I mean, we're so far behind here with Neighbours.
I'm afraid about 10 months or so.
Yeah. Are you still popping in sort of twice a year?
Yes. Well, she's what we call a returning character, Rosemary Daniels, the character that I play. And so Rosemary, what happens with Rosemary is that when there's a storyline that the storyliners see that they'd like to bring her in, normally they get in touch with me about 3 months ahead. If I can manage to get to Australia at the time, I do. If not, I guess the stories go in a different way. Often Rosemary is referred to on the show, Lynda, so there's like a presence. Even though she's not on the show. And, she's a good character for me.
Well, it's nice to be able to keep your hand in, as we would say.
That's exactly right. That's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah, nice.
And it allows me to do that, keep in touch with the actors, go back into that thing, to the discipline again. It's good.
Yeah, learning all those lines.
Yes. Yes, I know. That part's not such fun.
Exactly. When you say, if you can go to Australia, I am a little confused, because in some things I've read, it says that you live on 4 continents, and that you have apartments and a house and all the rest of it. Is it 4 homes or 5?
Well,
or is it 6 or more? The truth, Joy.
No, it's probably 4 actual homes.
Probably 4.
Yes. Yes.
This is amazing. And I was, last Sunday, I think it was, I lifted the mail on Sunday and saw some beautiful photographs.
Oh, so now you know what Reg looks like.
Now I know what Reg looks like.
Isn't he lovely?
Yes, and I must admit, the old house doesn't look too bad either. It looks gorgeous. It
Thank
really,
you.
really
Yes,
does.
well, that's where my puppy dog Calpurnia is. So that's home. Bermuda is home.
We want to go home there as much as
home.
possible.
That is our base. And yes, we do travel, and we have a home in this country, and we have one in Australia and in America. And the thing being that, yes, I do travel a lot, and yes, I live in an aeroplane. I really do, Lynda. And I said this once or twice this week. I have a joke with Reg that if I die and I go to hell will be an airport.
I love it.
Because it's true. I mean, most of my life I've spent in the darn things.
Well, you must have then picked up, you must be the seasoned traveller who has picked up the tips, the tricks that avoid all those situations the rest of us get into. No? Have you not got any handy hints for us?
I wish I could. Well, one of the big secrets is travel light, kids.
Yeah.
Travel light.
I'm still working on that.
Do not travel heavy. This is a bad idea. If you travel heavily, all you're doing is straining your arms and your back muscles, and there's a lot of tension and stress in that. So one pair of shoes, one handbag. You know, like you can have as many blouses and skirts as you like, but just keep it what
simple.
you can trim.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, that's a good tip. What about jet lag?
Suffer.
Yeah. I've
Suffer.
never managed to beat it.
No.
I've tried all
Nobody
these
does.
diets, starchy diet for one day and then all liquid for one day, and it doesn't work.
Well, you know, my friend and publicist Maria Morgan and I this morning were in a health food store, and we have got enough drops and herbal drops for if I ever get jet lag or stress or tension again.
Not a problem.
I tell you, I shouldn't. I think we've kept that store going for a couple of weeks, actually.
Excellent. Very, very good. The lifestyle itself, I mean, on the surface looks wonderful.
Yes.
But the fact that you probably can't get to spend as much time with your husband, who many people thought had died,
Yes.
had become a recluse. Did he ever exist? Nobody had ever seen him.
Well, in actual fact, I do have a couple of true stories about that. I have got into taxis in Sydney, Australia, and the taxi drivers outside Grundy House, which is a place which is one of our buildings in Australia, and they have said to me, "Oh, you work here?" This is many years ago, and I said yes. And they've said, "Well, of course, you know, there's no such person as Reg Grundy." And I have answered them by replying, "Well, he was fine when I got out of bed with him this morning, so he was a person this morning." But truly, yes, some people think he doesn't exist. He just keeps a low profile. Well, what he does, Lynda, and what I relate, and I understand this, Reg is a person who says the shows are the star. He is not the star. His shows are the star. And I must say I admire that in him. He is not a seeker after publicity, and therefore he wants the shows to have the publicity. And that's how he looks at life, and, that's his prerogative.
How's he dealing now with Joy Chambers, the author?
Well, as you can see, he actually came out of the woodwork to have his photograph taken with me. So,
Yeah.
thanks, Reg. I appreciated that.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, he's. I'm delighted and proud to say he loved Mayfield.
He's pleased for you, I would imagine. Yeah.
He is, and I think in my vote of thanks, if I remember correctly, he is the first person I'd say that he loves Alan, John Stewart and Eve almost as much as I do, and actually that's true. Yes, he's a great supporter. He's my rock, he's my treasure, and I'm probably more in love with him today than I was 20 years ago.
What's the secret?
I don't know. You've got a pretty good man upstairs, you know.
I haven't got 4 homes and 4 continents.
Well, you don't need 4 homes on 4 continents. You're happy.
Well, I suppose so at the end of the day. After this, how long are you going to take to finish off the Zulu book?
Well, I hope that Zulu will be out in about 18 months from now. It's got a working title of My Zulu Myself. So, I really hope it does, because if enough people and enough of your listeners actually like Mayfield, then yeah, I'm happy to keep writing. I'm enjoying it.
You mentioned earlier at the very beginning that it was all very well being Joy Chambers and being Mrs. Reg Grundy and all these things, but getting a publisher was difficult.
Yeah, well, I don't know
about-
anybody in publishing.
Right.
That's a lie. We know Rupert Murdoch, but that's right at the top. And what do? You don't actually ring up and say, "Listen, could I speak to Rupert? Would he publish my book?" So,
I would, if I knew him.
No, I don't think that would be appropriate. So no, I knew nobody in publishing, and so I got rejected. Sure, yeah, and finally, headline in this country and Ballantine in America picked it up, and I was thrilled. So yes, I had my knockbacks. I had my nose.
Well,
we all have them. A little rain must fall,
Joy, it has been a pleasure talking with you this afternoon.
I've enjoyed it.
Thanks for giving me so much of your time. And I look forward to seeing Mayfield on the screen.
Thank you.
And indeed seeing you as Lottie,
Lynda,
who ended up beautifully.
I have really, really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very, very much.
Don't leave it so long till you come back to Ireland, because I know you mentioned to me that your great-grandfather,
Oh, my granddaddy,
your
my
grandfather,
yes.
came from where?
He was born at the foot of the Mourne Mountains, the mountains of Mourne.
Have you been to see them?
I'm going to.
Please try.
Look, I'm really an Irish girl, you know. Ballynahinch, Ballinagall, Downpatrick, Ballymote.
Only minutes from here.
Only minutes from here. And that's where he was. That's where he was born and brought up. That was my grandfather, Joseph Lama Chambers.
Well, we shall have to do something on that research.
Absolutely. I'm going down there. So watch out, all you people around the mountains of Mourne. We're coming.
The blonde bombshell is on her way. Joy, thanks a million. Enjoy the rest of your stay in Northern Ireland and come back and see us sometime soon.
Thanks.